Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible reading plan. Today we're in the third chapter of the book of Revelation. Not Revelations, Revelation. And I'm sitting here today drinking my coffee that I have every single day. And most people hate cold coffee. Cold coffee that's not supposed to be cold. I'm not talking about iced coffee. Most people, when they make coffee, they just drink it hot, or they don't drink it at all. Sometimes they throw it in the microwave and heat it up so they can drink it again. And I do that sometimes, but I'm a very slow coffee drinker. And this is a metal cup I've got right now, so I better not throw it in the microwave. But I'm a very slow coffee drinker. So what happens about every time I drink coffee is that it gets cold because I run around everywhere. I can't sit still. My coffee inevitably gets left behind. And what I do is I sort of get used to the warm taste and I drink it warm, not really caring. But most people hate it and they spit it out of their mouth. They pour it down the sink, or they heat it up again when their coffee is cold. And that's what Jesus is talking about here, telling the church of Laodicea. He says in verse 15, I know your works. You are neither hot nor cold. Would that you were either hot or cold. He says, I wish you were either hot or cold. I wish you were on fire for me, or you were just burned out completely, but just not this lukewarm, not sitting on the fence. He says, so because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. So the church of Laodicea is in the city of Laodicea, and the city of Laodicea is between two other cities called Colossae and Hierapolis. And Hierapolis had these hot springs, which water would flow, and it was really hot, and it would flow down these streams, and it would go into Laodicea. And then Colossae had these cold springs of really cold water, and they would flow out and flow into Laodicea. And by the time the Hierapolis hot water got to Laodicea, it was lukewarm. And by the time this really cold water got to Laodicea, it was lukewarm. And it's an awesome image also that we can see in the geography too. This was a city known for its lukewarm nature. And Jesus says, guys, you people are no different. You got a fire for me, but now you have let that burn out, and you have just been okay with drinking this lukewarm coffee. And he says, that's no good. I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And I think a lot of us, we get used to being lukewarm. And Jesus says, no. I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. That is not an acceptable way to come before the throne of God. And I think it causes us to check ourselves. If Jesus said he's going to spit this church out of his mouth, then are they truly following the Jesus they claim to be following? It's something to think about, and it can lead to fear, maybe fear that leads you closer to God. But there's hope at the end of this passage that I do want to share as well. In verse 20, he's still talking to Laodicea, the ones that are far from God or lukewarm. They're mediocre. And he says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he with me. And this is a very intimate setting, eating a meal with Christ, communing, koinonia, fellowship, participating with the Spirit of God. And then he says, the one who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He says, he who conquers, he who finishes the race strong, I will grant to sit on my throne, to rule in heaven with me. This is insane. This is awesome stuff we're hearing here. But those who are far from God, those who feel like you've fallen in your faith, you are lukewarm, then I encourage you, maybe through this camera, through something else in your life, Jesus is standing at the door and he's knocking, and he's saying, if you would just open that door, I will fill you with a fresh new fire. I will renew your spirit. I will bring renewal to you, because there's nothing better than to rest in the presence of Jesus. And there's nothing more refreshing and renewing and more heating than to rest in the presence of Jesus, to go in and commune with the Spirit of Jesus, and then go out and serve and be hot for the kingdom of God. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this encouraged you in Revelation chapter 3. Hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.